you doing?
I'm awesome. Always awesome. Thank you
Good.
for asking.
Glad to hear it. Chris, what's Coach told us about 15 times that it's all about Iowa, Iowa, Iowa?
Yeah.
What was your response been? Or how'd you find out about the ranking last night? Did you find out last night?
Yeah, we all kind of found out together, like in the locker room. Some of the guys were kind of talking about it. But it's an honor, to be recognized, for our hard work like thus far. But obviously, it's not going to mean anything, if we don't win this week. We have a big task in front of us, so we're kind of focused on that.
In some ways, I mean, does that ranking provide a little bit extra incentive, knowing that there's some big goals on the table if you guys can keep it up?
I mean, we've always had, like our own, build up extra incentive. We're a very motivated team. We believe in ourselves. So yes, it is cool to be, to be recognized, but we believe in the things that we can do. We just got to go out and, put it on the game field.
Chris, what do you think that ranking means for the program as a whole? We talked to Jason Pender earlier today. He was talking about how, it kind of meant something more for the guys who stuck around and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. I agree with Jason. It means a lot, for the guys that stuck around, that stuck through the tough times. Because back then things were looking a bit bleak, but now things are on the upward trend. So it's up to us to kind of continue that forward momentum and keep moving.
Chris, when you look at Desmond King on film, what do you see compared to other corners you've seen this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's a great cornerback. He was Jim Thorpe Award winner last year, and it was for a reason. He's a physical guy. He has a lot of good speed, and they play in a good scheme. They do a really good job defensively. Putting him in situations to be successful. And he takes advantage of them. There's not many things on film that you could kind of go at against him, but the things that there are, you have to kind of attack those.
Chris, you show a bit of a physical nature a lot of times, dragging corners down the field. Is that going to be a fun matchup if he's against you? And kind of what do you see with your game versus his?
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be a fun matchup. Obviously, anytime you're going against another great competitor, you kind of get your juices going. Just because you want to go against the best. So I'm looking forward to any opportunity I get to go against him. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to the product that we can put together offensively. Because we're kind of on a roll right now, so we're hoping to continue that.
Chris, like you said, the offense especially has been on a roll the last few weeks. You posted 62 points against Purdue. Most Penn State's had against a Big Ten team in 11 years. Where's this change come from? Why do you think Penn State's offense has stepped up? What's different about it?
Honestly, I think it goes back to our practices. Our practices the last couple of weeks have been some of our best since I've been here. And that's a testament to our players, to our coaching staff. Getting us ready, and the players going out and execute each and every day on the playing field, and then that kind of translates to the game field.
Chris,
What makes a good practice?
A lot of things. You have to come out with the right attitude, with the right energy and urgency. That's kind of where it all begins, and then it's digesting the game plan that we put together right before practice, and then executing it on the field. It's a lot of small details that you have to focus on. So coming out and make sure that we don't make a lot of mistakes, and then quickly learning from those mistakes. Kind of things that go into having a good practice.
what do you think has made the last couple, because you said they're the best that you've had since you've been here, what do you think's made the difference that they're better now?
Like I said, I just think it's been one of those things where we have a lot of urgency, we have a lot of intensity. We're all juiced up and ready to go. And I think our attention to detail has been something that's benefited us. In this last couple weeks.
Has there been a greater comfort level in Coach Moorhead's offense too as the season's gone along? It's a pretty drastic change from what you guys had been doing.
Yeah. I definitely would say that there's more of a comfort level, as the season progresses. We're starting to do a little bit different things, and just as the season progresses, we're starting to get more and more comfortable with like what he expects from us and what we can expect from him.
Chris, last question about King. I'm not sure if you covered this or not. Have you seen on film, does he typically shadow the number one receiver, or does he stay on one side of the field?
No, he's more of a guy that's going to stay on one side of the field. They have another good cornerback opposite of him.
Right.
Obviously, he doesn't get as much recognition, but I think they feel comfortable in all of their defensive backs.
When Coach Moorhead got here, did you think that you would throw down way downfield as much as you have, but that you dropped?
Yeah, from the time that I first talked to Coach Moore, he was telling me that we're going to be able to run the ball and then we're going to be able to take shots down the field, and just trusting him and trusting the process. I believe what he was telling us, so I'm not really shocked at the things that we've been able to do so far this year.
For you, was there a moment or a play where you kind of realized what this offense could accomplish, or where you guys really got juiced up like you talked about?
I don't really think there was one particular moment. I think throughout the the whole process of spring ball and things like that. You know, we were hitting some big plays during spring practices and stuff like that. So I think just the process of spring ball kind of showed us like what we can really do. You know, if we put in the hard work and if we execute it.
What's something you feel like this offense can do now that maybe it couldn't do week 1, week 2, whether that's something involving execution or play or anything?
I think it's our consistency. You know, like early on in the season, you know, there were times where like we would have pretty good spurts, but then we'd also have some down drives. You know, I think we're starting to put it together a little bit more. You know, we're starting a little bit faster and starting to, you know, put together some complete games.
What have you noticed about Dalen there in practice and games?
Yeah, I mean, Dalen, he has a bright future. You know, he's a young guy. He's always willing to, like, ready to learn. You know, so I think if he keeps his head down, keeps learning from the older guys, you know, keeps working, which he has shown that he's been willing to do, I think he has a really bright future ahead of him.
Chris, a lot of guys have talked about chemistry this week and how this is a tighter team than maybe it has been the past few years. At what point did you notice that maybe this was a little different than the past?
Those type of things, they kind of occur in the off season. You know, through running workouts, through spring ball, through summer workouts. You know, it's one of those things where a lot of guys, you know, we've been around a while. You know, so I think the core of our team, being that we've been you know, like one of the younger teams in the country the last couple of years, I think the core of our team has been together for a while. You know, so we're really starting to gel, and all that was built in the off season through all of our hard workouts that, you know, that our strength staff has put us through.
The phrase you mentioned earlier, trust the process, is that something you guys have kind of taken on as a slogan? Because we've heard it several times over the past few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really much of a slogan, more so it's just something that we understand that we have to do. You know, Rome wasn't built in one day, and we understand that, you know, in order for us to get to where we want to get to, it's gonna be a long process. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but I think we've committed to that process.
Are you a Sixers fan?
Am I a Sixers fan?
Yeah.
I'm not a Sixers fan, but, you know, I've seen them starting to do a couple good things.
You guys have been going deep, obviously a lot, and opportunities have been there with people crashing out against Saquon. Do you think you'll expect more of that Saturday, even though I would like to keep 2 safeties back typically?
I'm not sure if we can expect more or less. You know, obviously the game plan will dictate that, you know, and what they try to do to try to stop us. You know, obviously we have Saquon and our stable of backs in the backfield that will kind of help us out, you know, but I'm looking forward to the challenge ahead.
Chris, speaking about trusting the process, what's the ceiling of this offense, and how far are you now from that season?
I honestly couldn't tell you where our ceiling was. You know, I think we have a really high ceiling. You know, because while we are doing some really good things right now, I think we have a long way that we can go to reach our full potential. You know, there are still things that we kind of make mistakes on. You know, in game. You know, there are times where we have kind of stagnant drives that we can correct. You know, so like while we just, like, for example, we just scored 62 points. I think we weren't happy with where we were at. You know, I think we can continue to improve.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, guys.